Welcome back to Science Online class. This is our lecture number 6. You can see for the chapter Matter in Our Surrounding, and this is for the class 9th. Okay, actually in my last lecture we have seen what is the evaporation. So evaporation is a surface phenomena. Whatever happens, whatever the liquid particles which are present on the surface, they get the sunlight, and after that actually whatever the force of attraction which is present in between the particles, it breaks down, and after that they enter into the vapor state. Means all the liquid particles, they just enter into the vapor state, they converted themselves into the water vapor form, and this particular process, it is known as the evaporation. Right now we have to see what are the factors which affect the evaporation. Okay, so evaporation is a surface phenomena, and that's why what is the first factor? Increase in the surface area. Increase in the surface area increases the rate of evaporation. Means if the surface area will be more, so rate of evaporation will be more, and particularly whatever the if the surface area will be less, so evaporation will be less. How it happens, we can understand it with the help of the easy phenomena. For examples, same examples that I have given you. Otherwise what you can do the simple experiment, and you can consider one glass, okay, and you can consider one plate. You have to take the same amount of water both in the glass also, both in the plate also, and keep it both the containers in the outside for 1 or 2 hours. And after 1 or 2 hours, when the evaporation process will start, and again after that you have to check the amount of water which is left in both the containers. So you will find that whatever the amount of water will be more in the glass, and the amount of water will be less in the plate. Why? Because in the plate surface area will be more, so there are so many water particles which are present on the surface area, and that's why they will get their kinetic energy will be more, they will absorb the sunlight, and after that their force of attraction will break down, and they will enter into the vapor state. And in the glass, what is happening inside the glass, whatever the liquid particles which are present inside the glass, what is happening there? Because their surface area is less, and that's why very few water particles, they are increasing their kinetic energy, and they are entering into the vapor state. So if the surface area will be more, then only the rate of evaporation will be more. I can take the another example for the easy understanding. What happens when we are spreading, okay, for drying up our clothes, actually what we do, we generally spread our wet cloths. We generally spread our wet cloths, and after that we keep it on the ropes. If we are not spreading the wet cloths, why do we spread our wet cloths? Why? To increase the surface area. Phenomena is very easy. If the surface area will be more, then only the wet cloths, it will dry up fast. Sometimes what happens, suppose you are not going to spread up. What if the cloths are very big size and you are not going to spread up properly? So definitely it will take more time for dry up. So that is the phenomena, that is the reason behind the surface area. If the surface area is more, evaporation will be more. Surface area will be less, evaporation will be less. And that's why what happens by mistake, if some of the water droplets, they are some of the water, okay, or some of the tea, okay, if by mistake it is pouring here and there, so immediately with the help of the with the help of the wiper, we wipe it. Why? To increase the surface area. Okay, so that evaporation will be fast, and immediately the area will be clean up. Right now see the second, increase in the temperature also increases the rate of evaporation. Very easy. If the temperature will be more, so the more particles of the liquid, their kinetic energy will increase, and after that the force of attraction in between the particles, it will break down, and more particles will enter into the vapor state, and in this way they will increase the rate of evaporation. So more increase in temperature, more evaporation. Okay, for example, you can take a simple experiment. Okay, for example, you have to take some sample of the water in the kettle, and initially your flame is low, so at that time evaporation will be less, more water will be left inside the container. And when we are increasing the temperature, so within the few minutes, because of the rate of evaporation will be more, so within the few minutes all the water particles, okay, it will evaporate immediately. So very easy logic. Third is the decrease in the humidity. This particular term is very much important here. Decrease in the humidity. What is the humidity actually? Humidity means the amount of the water vapor which is present in the atmosphere. The amount of the water vapor which is present in the air, it is known as humidity. Sometimes what happens, if the weather is very much humid, so we are not getting the proper wind, and at that time we feel very much suffocated. So humidity means amount of water vapor which is present in the air, and because of the humidity sometimes the wind does not blow from here to there. Why? Because if the humidity will be more in the air, so it makes the wind heavy. It makes the wind heavy, and if the wind particles, if the air particles will contain the water vapor more, so what happens? The particles of the air, they cannot move easily, and that's why at that time we feel very much suffocated. Okay, the area which are near to the coastal line, actually the air surrounding the sea coastal line, okay, in that particular atmosphere, humidity will be more. So what is the role of the humidity there? If the humidity will be more, so actually if the decrease in the humidity means if the humidity will not be more, so the rate of evaporation will be increased. Decreasing the humidity actually increases the rate of evaporation, or you can say if the humidity will be more, so the rate of evaporation will be decreased. Okay, you can say it with the simple formula. For example, if the humidity during the rainy season, because the humidity is more in the atmosphere, and at that time you can see your wet cloths, it takes large time for dry up. Okay, whatever the wet cloths that we have spread up there in the outside, it takes some more time to dry up as compared to the summer days. Why? Because in the summer days, because of the hot atmosphere, the humidity it is very less, and if the humidity will be less, so definitely the rate of evaporation will be fast, and whatever our clothes are there outside, it will dry up fastly. So that is the logic behind humidity. Next, fourth factor is that increase in the wind speed also increases the rate of evaporation. Increasing the wind speed also increases the rate of evaporation. Very easy phenomena. If the speed of the wind will be more, so definitely it will increase the rate of evaporation. For example, you can understand very easy logic. If the milk, suppose your mother is serving you the hot milk of a hot cup of milk. So what you are happening for cooling? What we do generally, we switch on the fan. With the wind of the fan, immediately the hot tea it becomes cool, and after that we can easily drink it. So that is the phenomena. Sometimes during the rainy season, what happens? Because during the rainy season our clothes it is not dry up quickly. So what happens? We generally keep it indoors, and after that we switch on the fan, and with the help of the wind speed it dry up. So if the wind speed will be more and more, so definitely they will increase the rate of evaporation. Very easy phenomena. Right now see how does the evaporation cause cooling. Actually the evaporation it also causes the cooling. How? We can see what happens after the evaporation. After the evaporation what happens? Actually the particles of the liquid they lose their kinetic energy. Particles of the liquid they lose their kinetic energy because they are just changing their state from the liquid to the gaseous state. So what happens after the evaporation? Particles of the liquid they lose their energy. So what they do for the balancing of the energy? What they do generally, they absorb the energy from the surrounding, because they lost their energy, and that's why they are taking the energy from the surrounding. And because they are taking the energy from the surrounding, or you can say surrounding is giving energy to them, so whatever the surrounding that is giving energy to the liquid particles, it will becomes cold. It will becomes cold, and this way evaporation causes the cooling. Because the liquid particles they are losing their energy continuously after the evaporation, and that's why they are absorbing the energy from the outside atmosphere. And that's why the outside atmosphere it is converting into the cold atmosphere, and in this process we can say that evaporation causes the cooling. Some of the daily life example we have that you can see. First, wearing cotton cloths in the summer keeps us cool. What happens? Okay, during the summer days we wear the cotton cloths. Why? Because cotton cloth is a natural fabric, and we are knowing that it absorbs the sweat. It absorbs the more sweat, and after that it exposes our cloth directly into the atmosphere for the easy evaporation. What is the logic behind the cotton cloth? Cotton cloth absorbs the sweat in the larger extent, and after that it exposes it directly for the easy evaporation. And after the evaporation, okay, what will happen after the evaporation process will complete? So our body it will absorb the our body, oh sorry, the liquid particles, they will absorb the energy from the surrounding, or we can say our body will lose energy. The liquid particles, they will absorb energy from our body, and that's why our body will lose energy, and in this way we will feel very cold. Okay, we will feel cool. That is the logic behind it. Second thing is that in the hot days, what will happen during the hot days, the persons, those who want to sleep in the roof, okay, so what they do, they generally sprinkle the water. Why they sprinkle the water? Because after sprinkling the water, what happens, the liquid particles, whatever the liquid particles they are sprinkling directly on the roof surface, so all the liquid particles, they will absorb the energy from the ground, they will absorb the energy from the roof, and after that, that roof, because it is losing the energy, so it will become very much cold, and that cold atmosphere, it will be very good, comfortable for them to sleep there overnight. Next example you can take acetone. Actually, what is the acetone? Acetone is a chemical, and it is also present in the nail polish remover. You can say in a easy language, nail polish remover. So what happens when somebody is keeping 2 or 3 drops of the nail polish remover directly on your palm? So after some time you feel very cold. Or you can say the example of spirit also. If somebody is putting some drops of the spirit directly on your palm, so we feel very much cold. Why? Because the acetone, what they do, they just absorb the energy from our palm, from our body, and because they are absorbing energy from our body, so definitely we are losing energy, and that's why we feel very cool. Okay, because they are absorbing energy from that particular palm surface. So the area from where they are absorbing the energy, that particular area of our palm, it becomes cold. Right now, see, one more thing I have to explain you after that, and after that this lecture is going to be finished. We have to just see how to convert degree centigrade into Kelvin. Degree centigrade into Kelvin. For example, one example is given in front of me. For example, 23 degree centigrade, and we have to convert it into the Kelvin form. So nothing is the formula. If we want to convert 23 degrees centigrade into the Kelvin, so we have to plus 273. We have to plus 273. Means degree centigrade plus 273. It will give me the answer in Kelvin form. It will give me the answer in Kelvin form. So what is the 20 degree centigrade in the Kelvin form? So addition of the 273 plus 23. So it will give me 336, 729, 296 Kelvin. This is my answer. Opposite process. For example, you have given 573 Kelvin, and you have to convert Kelvin into degree centigrade. Kelvin into degree centigrade. For example, one sample of the question given to you, for example, 573 Kelvin, and you have to convert this 573 Kelvin into the degree centigrade scale. So what you have to do? We are knowing that when we are converting the degree centigrade into the Kelvin scale, so we are adding 273. And here we are converting the Kelvin into the degree centigrade. So what we have to do? Actually, we should subtract minus 273 from the Kelvin scale, so that we can convert the particular Kelvin into the degree centigrade. So what is the answer? 3 minus 3, 0, 7 minus 7, 0, and 5 minus 2, 3. So it will be 300 Kelvin. So this is the thing. Sorry, this is the degree centigrade. Okay. So when we want to convert degree centigrade into the Kelvin, so we have to plus 273, and when we have to convert the Kelvin into the degree centigrade, so we should subtract 273 from the Kelvin scale. So this is the all about the lecture. Okay, if some more points are remained, so I can increase one more lecture, and after that we will see the solution in form of the PDF. Okay, thank you so much.